Yeah.
Okay, so this next question is from Mandy, who wrote in to say that she said, I've got some tough feedback to give a direct report who I know is going to react emotionally and be super defensive. Ugh, we've all been in this situation. I've brought up the feedback before in our one-on-ones, and it has been received pretty poorly. So it's not going to be a complete surprise. How can I manage their emotions in the moment? In the performance review?
Well, Mandy, I feel for you. Been there. You're just like, oh, I don't want to do this. I know it's going to happen. But Mandy, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. So here's a couple tips. I would say one of the things is you have got to get into a good space yourself before having that conversation. So do not be back to back. Whatever it is for you, it can be like, take a couple breaths. It could be like, take a 3-minute walk. But just get into a good emotional grounded space yourself. Like get into a good mindset where you are open. So that's number one. Number two is I think it's always really important to share your intention before you launch into any conversation. And I think that it gives people the opportunity to know where you're coming from and your why. And if people understand your why, the what can land a lot better, right? Because they know that you're coming from a good place. So it might sound something like this. I want to share some top feedback with you because I really want you to be successful here. And I know I've actually shared this feedback with you in the past, but I want to share it again because I really think it could help you. So again, you're just saying the why, you're acknowledging you've heard this before, but I'm saying it again, right? Because I really think this matters. And then I think, it sounds like, Mandy, they're going to get defensive, right? Like you've been here before. And so knowing that when they start to get defensive, this is where empathy is really your friend. It can really de-escalate emotions and allow them to feel heard. And here's a really great structure for how to give an empathetic response. So the first thing you want to do is you want to agree with something they've said. Find something that is true. Then what you want to do is summarize what you've heard. And then it can be quite helpful to put a feeling word on it. So it can either be a feeling word they gave you or you just observe their frustration, right? And then the key is, once you've done that, is you want to ask them a gentle question. And the reason you're doing that is actually going to help them engage back in their prefrontal cortex, right? And you're going to learn more. So this is not a solve it. This is really to help expand the conversation and learn more. So an example, like in this situation, it might be something like, I agree that, I agree that you're absolutely right? Like it's really frustrating when you're getting the same feedback multiple times and you don't agree with it. So that's that, I've said something that is true, right? And I hear you saying that you don't think it's important for this role. You don't agree with my feedback. That's the summarized part, right? And I can see that you're incredibly annoyed about this. That's that feeling part. So tell me, what do you disagree with the most? That's that gentle question that's now going to engage their prefrontal cortex and help expand the conversation and learn some more about the situation. So empathy is your friend.
Yeah.
These are my main tips.
Yeah, no, I do like that. And I think with empathy, it's that response that you just gave and that kind of the language that you just gave folks is super helpful because you're not relating to the other person. Like, oh yeah, it's really annoying. I was in a similar situation, and you're not diving straight in to be like, okay, well, let's try and fix the problem. You're genuinely putting yourself in their shoes and helping them see that you've really heard what they have to say. And that's the whole thing about being empathetic. And it really is like people who, those of you who are therapists who are listening or who have had like therapy training in some way will know that, being empathetic is your fastest way to de-escalate emotion. It's the fastest way. Sure. It works like a dream.
It's so amazing. It's so amazing. And I think the key thing is finding that, as you say, Lucy, like finding the truth, because you can sort of see it, right? If they don't feel validated, if they don't feel like you are acknowledging what they are saying, right? And finding that truth. Like, just, you can imagine, right? They're just going to yell louder, if you will, right? Or completely disengage because you're like, no, you're not hearing me.
Yeah.
So yeah, super powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think sometimes you might find that, just to manage their emotions, a couple more tips to help manage their emotions. Just showing some vulnerability yourself is really helpful. You can pull out some times in the, or something that you're feeling like, I feel really guilty about keep carrying on giving you this feedback. I feel like I'm not doing a good job as a manager here because like I'm obviously missing something in how I'm communicating this feedback to you, because we seem to keep being misaligned and not on the same page, and that makes me I feel like I should be doing a better job there. Like, so it really just sort of helps de-escalate so that person feels like they're working with you. And I think just making sure if you've been empathetic and you kind of feel like that path has been trodden, that you do keep summarizing what you've heard. Summarizing constantly can really help. Okay, let me just check that I've like really understood your point here, and then go through ABC or whatever it is that they've said, sorry. And that can just help kind of keep focusing the goal of the conversation, which is to get to a good outcome where they feel more aligned with where you're coming from and vice versa.
Yeah, love that. So just to recap, get in a good place. Empathy is your friend. Showing vulnerability. That was like an amazing example. Showing vulnerability and then just continuing to summarize so that they feel heard and you are validating your understanding of the situation.